episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding, and we are so stoked to have Jen Jones, Mountain Vibez team rider, Never Summer team rider, just all around Ben Homie badass joining the podcast today. Jen, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I am good. It's been a nice day up here in North Idaho. It was cloudy in the morning, but it was nice in the afternoon. We got some sun coming out, but yeah, it's been good. How's Ben today? How was Bachelor? I saw you riding out there.
Yeah, it was beautiful today. Snow's pretty good. It's been kind of a weird season, but we're getting there. It's still pretty low tide, but hopefully some storms in the forecast.
Yeah. I hope that this trend continues. I know we've been hit a little bit. All of us here in the Northwest, we've gotten some snow, but we're yearning for more. I want some of that Tahoe Mammoth Mountain snow. 6 feet in like 3 days. That would be so crazy.
I know. I'm watching my friends, just so jealous. I'm like, all right, let's make a trip to Tahoe. We're actually flying out to Colorado tomorrow morning, but I'm like, let's go to Tahoe, or maybe southern Colorado, because Wolf Creek looks like they're about to get it too.
Yeah, I saw on I kind of watch forecasts on YouTube and stuff like that, and Chris Tomer is a guy that I watch a lot, and he always has like the forecast out just for mountain snow. He just does resorts, and it looks like Colorado's gonna get some pretty steady snow all over in the next week, so that'll be good. I mean,
yeah,
you get that high elevation bluebird days, hopefully. Yeah. What are you doing down in Colorado?
A couple things, actually. Never Summer has our women's demo ride event on Saturday, so I'm going out there for that. And my husband's competing at Copper for the 3th star that's out there.
Oh, cool.
And then we have a little film trip kind of after the demo ride event. I might get to carve on a pond. A frozen pond.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So let's go back. Let's take it back to the beginning. Where you're currently in Bend, but where did you grow up, and like how did you get introduced into snowboarding?
Oh wow. I'm from Maryland originally.
Okay.
Which is not what you think. I moved to Utah in 2010, 11, I'd say. And that's kind of where my passion for snowboarding came about. Everyone I lived with absolutely ripped. They all competed. And that's definitely where I got competing from. I wanted to be just like them. And I was not anywhere good enough to do that. But I've been trying hard. And yeah, that's just, I've been following snow ever since. I've been super passionate about it. When I lived in Utah, this girl said, Alta changed her life. And I, at the time, did not know what she meant by that. But definitely, I know what she means now. That's kind of where it all came.
Yeah, definitely. So you said you grew up in Maryland. Did you... Not many, hills around there. Were you so you didn't snowboard at that time? And was there ever a time where you got out to the mountain back there, or it was just Utah straight up?
It was first time really snowboarding. I was in the backyard in New Jersey. We got a snowboard at a yard sale, and I just kind of like took it in the backyard to check it out. My ex lived in, and that's kind of like, I was like, I want to snowboard now. And I was bartending in Ocean City, and somebody, a regular, was like, hey, I have this opportunity for you. You live in Alta, you bartend there, you run a small bar, and you basically live there all winter. You get food taken care of course, making money working at the lodge, and you get a ski pass. So I was like, sure. Why not? And I went for it.
Right.
But other than that,
nice.
I've been to like Snowshoe, Whitetail, Round Top, which are resorts are closest, but the first time I ever like went to Vermont was last year. And I was like, this actually isn't very far from where I'm from.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. So, so you're in Utah. What like what time frame was that when you were down there? Because I know you're in Bend now. Um,
Um,
what?
that was 12 years ago. I was just thinking about
Oh
that.
wow.
I'm competing in the
Okay.
place I used to live in 2 weeks. So it was kind of like, whoa, 12 years ago, honestly, I could barely get down the place where I was spectating, watching my roommates compete on the same venue I'm competing at in 2 weeks. So that's like really special to me. But yeah, that was 12 years ago.
Yeah,
And then after that, I lived in Tahoe for like 7 years, and now I'm in Bend, always with the mountains.
that's awesome. Always with the mountains. So yeah, like 12 years and the progression that has happened in your writing. You know, you said that you're going to be going down there for an event. You're competing in the free ride world tour right now.
Trying to
I
get,
saw that you just got back. What's that?
I said, I'm trying to get to the tour. I'm in the qualifiers right now.
Yes.
4 stars.
Yes. That's awesome. So that whole structure, you know, we have actually another Mountain Vibes team rider, London Kramer, that competes as well
Oh,
in
yeah.
that circuit. Yeah, how first of all, like how was your trip up to Canada, by the way? Like you saw a lot of stuff. Like I saw you were up in Banff and Whitehorse. I mean, Canada is endless for snowboarding. I myself went up to Nelson just last spring just to go see Nelson because I know that Baldface is just right up in the mountains, and that's literally the dream. Like once in my life, I got to get to Baldface. But anyways, how was that trip? Like, had you ever been to Canada before, and what was your experience up there?
I have been to Canada a couple times. We haven't been to Canada, though, in a few years. But it was pretty awesome. It was kind of a wild trip. The snow wasn't, it was pretty good at Revelstoke, and then every day it just kind of got a little more interesting. By the time I got to compete at Kicking Horse, it was probably some of the weirdest snow conditions I've ever competed on. We'll say that. uh,
Yeah,
Female snowboard ended up finishing, and then they closed the mountain for avalanche danger. So everyone had to leave the mountain. And then I know they finished the competition the next day, but they wouldn't let the general public spectate because of Abbey danger. So that was kind of wild.
yeah,
It got really warm, and then everything kind of refroze. So I got to compete on literally everything. It was bulletproof / punchy / frozen roller balls from a little bit of sluff. It's kind of wild.
yeah,
But
yeah. I just watching that kind of stuff. It's crazy. Like it's something that I probably would never do in my snowboarding. So much respect for you ladies out there killing it, spinning it that ass, dude.
it's
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely an experience. I've been competing for 5 years now. Had a major accident which took me out for almost 2 years, but coming back, I just now feel comfortable competing, if that makes sense. Like mentally, I'm just
yeah,
finally getting there, and it's taken this long. It's not easy to drop in and then everyone's watching you and you're being judged, and literally and it's just kind
yeah,
of like, and you compete against some of the best girls in the world, honestly. So it's just, yeah,
yeah,
a little bit of a mind.
yeah, yeah. No, for sure, for sure. Um, so going back, what made you decide you wanted to make the move from Utah to go to Bend, Oregon? Bend is I'm from Southern Oregon myself. I grew up in a little town called Cave Junction, about
Okay.
that, maybe 1,200 people. Don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's down by Grants Pass.
I know Grants Pass. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so about 30 miles southwest on the way to the coast.
Okay.
And I grew up going to a small mountain called Mount Ashland,
Yep.
but the big trip, maybe once or twice a season, my parents would always take me up to Bachelor, and we'd be up there for like a long weekend and stuff, and it was always just the best ever. Like, love Bend, love everything about it, but it's changed a lot since the time that I was a young kid. And it's just like a mecca now for
Yeah.
snowboarders. I mean, you got so many talented people coming out of Bend, whether it's it's Curtis Cizik, Ben, the Ferguson brothers, just tons and tons of people. I can't remember the latest. There's someone that lives in Bend right now. I can't remember her name, but she was on the bomb hole, I want to say like 4 episodes ago.
Oh, I think it's Nora.
Gosh. Nora.
Yeah.
Nora Beck, the badass. So you have all this stuff going on in Bend right now. What's it like? Like, what made you make that decision to go from one mecca in Utah at Salt Lake City to go to and kind of like at that time when you moved was like an up and coming place, a tight knit community? What made that decision for you? Because we all know that Bend is so awesome, and it's awesome that you're there riding at a place that a lot of people, there isn't like that much known about Bend, but for those of us who are snowboarders, we know that Bachelor and Bend is like so sick.
Yeah. Well, I lived in Tahoe after Utah, but
That's right.
wanted to change. I go up to Hood every summer, and Bend was kind of like the middle point. And one day, my husband and I were like, we want to live here. And after COVID, there just wasn't a lot of opportunities for the bar in California because everything was kind of shut down, and my husband wasn't his job, and we have a fifth wheel. So I just hit up an RV park in Sisters and was like, hey, do you have a spot? And my husband ended up getting a couple interviews in Bend, and we kind of just took a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bend has been extremely supportive for my husband and I for our careers. It's pretty awesome. I ride for Bachelor, which has been amazing. I work at a brewery who has been very supportive for us competing. And then a local ski snowboard shop, Powder House, who's been very supportive as well.
Great. Yeah, that's amazing. Which brewery do you work at? Because we all know that there's no shortage of them down there.
There's not. I work at Sun River.
Okay. And so very familiar with that. I mean, Sun River, that was the spot to get a place whenever we were in town. Yeah, that's awesome. You know what my favorite my favorite brewery of all time is Boneyard. I have yet to I have yet to find anything else that compares to, just like the variety that they have and like their beers. Like, I'm a big IPA guy, so
yeah, everyone Boneyard RPM, everyone asks for it. Like, what is similar to RPM? And I remember Tahoe, and it's kind of cool. I'm like, well, you can try Sun River beer.
That's right. That's awesome.
Bend definitely has its breweries, that's for sure.
That's for sure. I mean, Oregon in general does. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's so cool. And so you and your husband, that's very cool. And I've seen some of his content out there as well. And what's his handle on Instagram again? I forget.
JJ underscore does underscore things, because he does things.
That's right. That's right. And is he into is he a photographer, like content creator, or what's he into? I know he,
Here as well, but he is a photographer too. He's pretty talented. He actually
yeah.
will probably be going out shooting some stuff for Never Summer this weekend.
Okay.
And he also is a snowboarder. A pretty good one. He likes to do bank slope
Okay.
on his
Yeah.
snowboard. It's pretty funny. He's
Yeah.
a skier, but yeah.
It's so, yeah. I mean, when you're multidisciplined, it's always fun. You can kind of pick and choose based on conditions which one's going to be better for you that day and stuff. There's a lot of those people up here at Schweitzer, and they're awesome. So, but yeah. So I love that you mentioned that you love being in Bend, and you're right in the middle between, like Tahoe, Northern California, Hood, and Hood goes all summer. I actually, when I first started like really getting into the mountains and stuff and actually working up there, my first job was up at Mount Hood at Timberline as ski patrol, because they let snowboarders be on ski patrol. And then I transitioned into instructing, and I worked up at Timberline probably for, I don't know, 10 years or something before moving up here to North Idaho and working up at Schweitzer. And for those who don't know, Mount Hood is probably the pipeline for all of the great snowboarders that you have ever seen, whether it be at X Games or anything. Everyone goes to Mount Hood during the summer. And we all know that Jen goes to Mount Hood during the summer because we see her posts. What I know you love Bend and everything that it's about, but for me, Mount Hood is like one of the most sacred places that I have ever been to.
For sure.
I love it. I love Timberline. I love everything about it. I love the vibe in the summer that you can go ride, and that you can camp, and you can go to the lake or the rivers or do whatever you want. And it's special. Like, what, as far as like progression and like snowboarding in general to you, what does Mount Hood mean to you as far as going up there and just being there?
Oh, wow. Mount Hood's pretty special. Last summer I can't believe I'm saying this, but there every single week to train.
Yeah.
They have an awesome setup park that they do. And just in general, like Mount Hood is so fun to ride in the summertime, and just to keep that going all summer. But I'm hoping to summit Hood this year too. So that's pretty special. We've hiked pretty far, but we haven't summited yet.
So you're going to bust out the crampons and...
Yeah.
There you go.
Crampons, ice.
There you go.
I started getting a little bit into amateur mountaineering last summer.
Okay.
Al's sister did middle sister, and I want to keep that going. And the time to do that is kind of late April, May. So that's what we're thinking for Hood. Fingers crossed.
So that you're able to ride back down.
Yeah.
You're gonna split board up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was there for so long, but I never ever summited. I've been up to, the solstice party up at Illumination Rock and stuff like that. But that's really, I mean, this was probably before it got crazy. It was still kind of like just kind of a local thing back when I went, but there's nothing like it. I mean, yeah, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like something that you have to do.
Yeah. We did it the first time last year. We had never done it. I had always had to work or something came up. But my husband and I actually took off work, made sure that we went up there, and it was definitely like hiking with 1,000 of your backcountry friends. It was nuts. How many people were going up. It's kind of like you ride all day, and then when the lifts close, you take the last lift up, and then you start hiking, and it's a lot of fun. They built like a
Yeah.
truck, and pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I have a lot of friends up there, so you know the content comes out, and when you're gone you're just like, dang man, that would be so cool to be back. And yeah, I saw you up there. I mean, some big time like YouTubers have come up in the last couple years, like Kevin from Snowboard Pro Camp and TJ, of course TJ Kern, you know, Board Archive, one of our writers. You know, and it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a gathering of the snowboarding slash, you know, skiing community. It's just something that it's like a pilgrimage, you know. You got to do it at least once, and it's a pretty special thing to be a part of.
It's super
But yeah,
hard to describe.
never.
Said.
I know, dude. It's yeah, it's special, but never summited. But always have wanted to. Would love to go up through the pearly gates or the old man chute and get to the top. I have actually a friend that I had, Mac Hefferman, big time skier, was at Mount Hood for a long time on ski patrol, but moved to Bend a few years ago. Does tree work down there, but he regularly summits Hood in the summer. Like he probably goes up, I don't even know how many times. Like he goes up like once a month, usually, to go try and summit and come back. But yeah, it's something definitely on the bucket list. The best thing I can come up with is I summited Mount St. Helens once.
Yeah, I want to do that.
And that was dope. Yeah, that's really cool. That makes you feel pretty powerless at that mountain, because when you get up to the top, like it's so unstable that I was up at the top for probably a couple hours because I didn't want to leave, but I counted like 30 landslides just going on all around us because it's constantly moving, you know, it's an active volcano. And so you can feel the trembles all the time and stuff like that.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Got pretty far, not to like the pearly gates, but and this was a little later than we should have too. You're typically, when you're gonna summit Hood, you should be in the parking lot at start no later than 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Out of there. This was, I hate to say it, we were up there pretty late, but we did see a lot of like natural rock fall, and we were like, oh crap, like get out of here. Don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be sketch.
It's kind of wild to see like something at its nature, you know, it's crazy.
In that, yeah, in those environments, like, you know, we're in the mountains all the time, but when you get to those places, like you said, that you went up South Sister and the Sisters down in Central Oregon, I mean, they're all very active volcanoes, and it's dangerous, man. Like, there's a reason why people are like, oh, why do you get up at midnight to go summit? I'm like, well, you have to, because of the ice fall and all those dangers. When it starts getting warmer, the mountain warms up and it becomes very, very unstable during the middle of the day. Whereas at night, it becomes a little bit more firm through that cold. But yeah, that's dope. I hope that you guys get up there, you and your husband. That would be super sick.
Yeah, we've got a Hood, Helens, and Adams is on our list.
Oh yeah,
we were gonna do.
I've heard Adams is,
but I think I want to say there was a forest fire that caused it that week.
Yeah.
We didn't end up going.
I've heard Adams is pretty chill. It's kind of just like a nice hike, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's challenging, of course, but
I think we were talking about snow camping to do it. It is pretty long. I mean, they're all long. Like, they're all a super long approach. Middle Sister was a very long. That was, oh my gosh. I want to say 16 miles we did that day. South Sister,
wow,
probably pretty up there too. You don't think they're that far until you start, and you're just like, whoa, they're pretty far out.
Actually, there's a really cool YouTube channel called Mediocre Amateur. Have you ever heard of them?
Mm-mm. No, but I'll check it out.
So there's these guys that are all friends out of Salt Lake, and basically they're mountaineers, and they climb mountains all over. They either skin up when conditions allow, or they just kind of climb mountains and come back down. But they are so cool, and like the guy that created the channel, his goal every single year on his birthday is to summit a volcano wherever it may be. So he just kind of goes to different volcanoes. So he did a run of like all the Cascades. I mean, he's been to, the Andes, he's been down to South America, to Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, all these big time mountains. And yeah, that's just a whole nother level, like I think it's gnarly what we do just going up to the resort when we go. And getting up there, like, I mean, that's tough in itself. But I mean, I see people like, you know people out of Bend, like Pete Alport, and
Mm-hmm.
what he does just to go get shots and stuff like that. Like, that dude is just so gnarly, dude. Like, when I hear like podcasts like the Bomb Hole, and they talk to all these writers out of Bend, and they ask like, who's the king of Bend, like who's the king of Bend, and it's like Josh Dirksen, and like the Fergusons, and like whatever, but what about Pete Alport, dude?
Definitely.
Like, that guy is organizing. He's not even going to shred. Like, I'm sure he shreds, but like he's just going to get shots, and his shots are just insane. It's like, I'm
No.
sure you've heard, like, yeah,
Yeah.
legend, right? Like,
Hopefully I can work with him one day. He
one day we're we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna make that happen. We need to get a collab. Let's go. Jen Jones and Pete Alport. Let's get together, Bend homies. Jen has so many shots with other photographers. Pete, you need to get there. But yeah, so you've been in Bend a while. And we talked the other day, and during your time in Bend, like what have you seen change? Like, what's like how is everything going in Bend right now? Like, I know that you guys are kind of looking at maybe making another switch soon.
um it's growing for sure. It's growing rapidly. Even since we moved here, it's gotten a busier for sure. Housing is a little bit like everywhere, I feel like, is kind of tough. We're unfortunately in that where we have to be out soon. So we're kind of looking and trying to figure out what that, hopefully it's to stay in Bend, but housing's just tough everywhere. That's kind of one of the reasons why we left Truckee, is because everyone was getting pushed out, and there just wasn't, we were almost pushed down to Reno, and we're like, it's time to move on. So I hope Bend is where
Yeah,
we stay, but we just need to find a place.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so let's talk about the free ride, competitions, and the fact that you get to travel a lot and do that, and you've had some awesome results. I have no idea what that world is like. I think it's super gnarly when I watch you guys ride. um I'm not about to drop cliffs or go down like these steep, unmanageable terrains. Like, what is it, what's it like going down like these courses and stuff? Like, how sketched out are you? How much is it that you just like say, what, fuck it, let's go, let's just send it and get a result here?
I'll let you know at Snowbird.
Okay.
I feel like I said, that mental aspect of it, where it's tough when you're being judged and everyone's watching you, and now they're live streamed, and it's kind of like, oh my God, just don't watch me. I'm starting to get over that, which is pretty awesome. And now I can focus on snowboarding. That's kind of, and just, I feel like these comps help you progress. You get to ride some awesome terrain. One of the spots and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this was to ride the Cirque at Kirkwood because it's a permanently closed venue. So that's pretty cool to have that opportunity. That is a little nerve-wracking within itself, I'm not gonna lie, but I love that venue. But it's just cool to just, I think there's so much support, especially in the women's snowboard field. We all kind of support each other and we all want to see each other do well. And it's just, I'm hoping to keep progressing with every comp. And this year, I really want to make it to Challengers. We'll see. I need a good result at Snowbird. I unfortunately fell at Kicking Horse, but I'm still going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as nerve-wracking as it used to be. It used to be like, oh my God, like these venues are crazy. Now I'm kind of like, okay, it's a puzzle. Like you don't want to miss features because they will dock you. So like each little air is considered like a feature. I'm starting to realize, and you start on your line score. So how difficult your run is, that's kind of like the basis of where they go. And then from there you build that up. So I'm learning. So I feel like as more and more I learn about these, the less nervous I'm becoming, if that makes sense. Like I'm starting to be more comfortable competing. I say all this and then Snowbird, I could be like, ah! But it's getting, my husband's been extremely helpful. He's a coach too, so it helps.
Oh, okay. Man, yeah, like that whole competition scene. I mean, I think the big, like, I get stoked to go to bank slaloms.
They're fun.
You know, and that's,
I just started getting into those. I've done a few in the last few years, and they're so much fun. My friend Audrey, die hard for them. She does like every single one of them that she can find, and that's kind of like her thing. And she's like, I'm gonna make a racer out of you, and I'm terrible at them, but they're fun. And I think that's all that matters.
Yeah. You know, it's tough. It's definitely something where those blank slaloms, I mean, they do require like a pretty strong fundamental skill set. You know, you have to know how to edge your board and carve it and know when to be in certain body positions during the bank or into the bank or and exiting like centrifugal forces and stuff like that. I mean, I'm talking about all this stuff. I'm a snowboard instructor, so I nerd out on all things snowboarding.
Coach, so no.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's crazy. And it's, you know, you got like one of the greatest bank slaloms right there in your backyard for the Dirksen Derby. But I just saw actually that they had to cancel like the LBS, dude, at Mount Baker. They had to cancel the legendary bank slalom. I was on Mobility Duo's feed. And they canceled it because you know, Mark couldn't go, so I was like, dang, dude, that sucks. The conditions are really that bad.
I think it's pretty low.
That's not looking good
There. And the past week, I know Whistler's doing a little better now, but it was forecasted like something like 10 inches of rain. That R word that we don't love to talk about during winter.
No.
I think it badly too. So
yeah, it is. You know, can't control the weather. You know, all you can do is make the best of it and, you know, do what we do. I mean, we know, you know, you come from a Cascade mountain. That Cascade concrete is a real thing. And that's why, I mean, it's why I love carving. So, I mean, if you can carve, you can make the best out of any type of snow. So,
I've been saying all season, I've been just trying to work on Euro carves and ice. Well, like I said, I actually do that in a couple of days. But I
I mean, I see the photos. Like yeah, those photos are sick, by the way. Like
think
all those photos that like you guys have been putting out and stuff, like especially, lately, like those carves are just, those are sick, dude. I mean, I have a homie up here, Josh, and I brought him on to Mountain Vibes 2 or 3 seasons ago. But his favorite thing in the world is a Euro carve, and he's amazing at it. And I always just try to like study him and copy what he does and copy what other people do, because you can always carve in crappy conditions and you can make the most out of it and butter stuff and do cool stuff
exactly.
like people like Ryan Napton. He's just the ultimate carve master, he's out there on groomers all the time just doing awesome stuff. But yeah, for sure. So let's get into, how did you find out about Mountain Vibes, and what was kind of like your introduction into the company?
Oh wow. I've been with Mountain Vibes almost from the start, which that has to be like 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. Has it been that long?
Yeah.
I think so. I
Yeah.
saw on Instagram
Yeah.
and I reached out to Justin and he was like, yeah, I think you're a good fit. I started as a rep, did my first event at Keystone, I want to say, is when we did it, where we did it with
Yeah.
us. And it was awesome, super empowering to see those kids and to be able to help them. And the stories, it's just, if any of the reps or riders haven't done an event before, they totally should, because it's very impactful for sure. I still remember
Yeah. I mean,
I had and his story, and just to like be able to help them for a day and where they don't have to think about what they're going through in their life, and just seeing the stoke on their face. Like my kid was so stoked, and I think he ended up winning a board that day too, and it was like the best day of his life, and it was just really cool to like be part of that.
yeah, I have yet to go to my first event. It's a big goal of mine. Would love to get down to one, or, actually my goal is to host one up here. I would love to have, the riders come up to Northern Idaho and, do one up at Schweitzer. Still have yet to meet Justin and Emily. I mean, we see each other, on Zoom and phone calls and stuff, but yeah, I've been inspired by this company from the first time that I found out about it, and it was through, I can't remember how I found out. I think I was up at Hood and was on Instagram, and I got suggested that one of my friends should be Taylor Balfour, who is a rep and still is a rep for us. Yeah, and she's awesome, great person, great writer. But I just really liked the look. Like, she was rocking hoodies and stuff, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. Like, what's this company and stuff? And to find out that they help kids out through snowboarding and thinking positively and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's right up my alley. I'm an instructor. I love teaching kids. Like, I love to see the kids get out there and try snowboarding, get stoked on it, and they're like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I've had so many students, I can't even tell you how many students I've had that have progressed, not just like during the time that I had them, but I see them the next season and they're with a higher level instructor, somebody who's been there a lot longer that can teach some higher level stuff than I can. And I see them doing awesome stuff. I've had kids in school groups that are uber talented that I've said, you need to go down to High Cascade and you need to go do this and you need to be about snowboarding in the summer because you're so talented. I had a kid, Owen, Cade, and Calvin, in a school group last year, and I was just talking to him on the chair. I'm like, you guys are awesome. Like, have you ever thought about going down to High Cascade? And they were like, what's that? I'm like, you guys need to go. And guess what? They all went last summer, and
Nice.
they came back and they DM me like right after they got back, and they're like, dude, we're going back every summer, bro. We're gonna go do it. And I was like, that's awesome. You guys are gonna kill it, dude. I can't wait for you guys to see how good you guys get. Like, you guys can do this. Like, you know what to do. Like, you guys are talented, and yeah. And I just want to take that into an event. Like, I really want to get to my first event, and it's so awesome that you got to go to that one at Keystone. And I'm uber jealous, dude. I'm uber jealous of a lot of people that have been to these things. And I just can't wait to get to the next one, you know?
Yeah. Do one at Schweitzer. That would be fun. I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could get one down at Batchy or Hood. Honestly, my goal is to have something at Hood during the summer. Whatever it may be. You know, it could be a camp or whatever. But yeah, that'd be dope. That would be dope. But yeah, so, you know, we've talked about what you've done and where you're currently at. Like, where do you see yourself like going next in your snowboarding and in life? Like, what's the next step for Jen?
I want to focus more on the backcountry. I want to ride bigger lines, kind of where like the amateur mountaineering's coming to play, but I'm still competing. Still pretty obsessed with competing. Still trying to. Right now, the goal is challengers. I would love to go to the Freeride World Tour, but I just want to make it to challengers. So make it to the Freeride World Tour Challenger Series, and that's my like goal that I'm looking at right now. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's great. It's awesome. That's awesome. That's, you know, you love to hear it. So, all right, let's get into a little rapid fire with Jen. Okay. I'm going to throw some questions at you, and yeah, let's go. So are you rocking pants or bibs?
Bibs.
Goggles or glasses?
Goggles.
Power slush?
Oh.
You're a hood. I mean,
slush.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, everyone loves their slush time during the spring and summer, but nothing beats POW.
No,
ever. Nothing. No, especially on those days where it's just kicking.
I haven't been riding POW lately. I forgot.
I know.
Like,
I've gotten like 3 days of POW this year, but you know, you appreciate it so much more when it does happen, and you're having a rough year, and one of those days just clicks, and you're out there, whether it be by yourself or your homies are all with you. Like, everyone says there's no friends on a POW day. I like to have some homies with me, honestly, like some homies that are at that same level and stuff like that, to go just rip it up and maybe do some filming and stuff. It's so sick.
It's super fun. Yeah, same here.
Definitely. So what is Jen Jones' perfect day of snowboarding look like? Where are you? Who's riding with you? And what are the conditions like?
Oh, let's see. Perfect day of snowboarding. Definitely with my husband. It's a POW day. Can we be in Japan?
Yeah. Yep. Stacy and Casey Willax.
Of her right now.
You're jealous.
Ride POW all day. Get some filming in. Hit some really cool drops. Then go and get some sushi because we're in Japan and the sushi's amazing. Yep. And some ramen. And yeah.
Yep.
That'd be a perfect day.
Man, I said bald face was one of my, bucket list items. Japao, Niseko Village.
Yeah.
Let's go. I need to get there. Yeah. Okay, so who I want you to give me 3 people, and I know one of them's probably your husband, but 3 people that you take out on a sick heli trip day.
Okay. Definitely my husband. You are correct, JJ. One of my really good friends, Ashley Epis.
Okay.
And
Shout out.
yeah. And I think my friend Jackie would be really fun. That'd be a fun day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, that all right. 2 shout outs. Okay. Let's go. Okay. So, I mean, let's end it on that.
Okay.
On the big time heli trip with the homies. I just want to say, Jen, thank you so much again for joining. Really appreciate it. Would love to talk to you again in the future and catch up and see how everything's going with you. And I really appreciate you joining the podcast today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, Jen. Jen Jones, Mountain Vibes team rider, Bend local, and you guys need to watch out for this girl because she is coming and she's going to kill it. So let's wrap it on that. We're going to be bringing you guys more content and more episodes here, and we're going to be sending them out as soon as we can. And we really appreciate everyone who listens and everyone who's been checking out the YouTube channel. For myself and Jen, let's end it on that. And that's another episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding presented by Mountain Vibes. All right, guys. Thank you. Talk to you soon.